Hi, my name is Melvin Perez. I'm a senior fellow here at Construx. Today I'm going to be sharing with you some of my recent experience and engagements. I have the opportunity to work with this team who is struggling and to become more productive, and they were struggling also with software quality. So one of the things that I did was to, first of all, try to understand what was the reason where they're not that productive, or where they're not having the quality they were expected. Since they were using Kanban, which is a method that implements lean, so I decided to do this activity at the beginning of the workshop. I took the 7 forms of waste according to lean software development. I put it on the board, and I drew this scale from 1 through 5. Essentially, we'll say how much of each one of these wastes is happening in their system. So 1 being little, 5 being too much. So you see here we have work in progress, extra features. Those are things that are additional ideas that are being added, ideas that are not necessarily equally valuable than others. Relearning, things that we're gonna need to revisit or rework. Handoffs, passing a piece of work to the next person. Every time you pass it, you need to make sure you have sufficient documentation so the person that we're going to be working with that item has all the context to be able to do the work. So that's obviously consume time. Task switching, this is trying to do too many things at the same time, usually a consequence of having too much work in progress. Delays is another, I would say, consequences having too much work in progress, or having, I would say, reduced capacity to do the work. We need to wait for somebody else to pick up the work. And then final defects is strongly related to quality. So I asked the team to do this privately, is to basically rank each one of these wastes privately. And because there was the manager there, and we like to make sure that they have, they don't feel the pressure to say whatever the manager was expecting. And also it will be also important for us to see, the outliers and have conversation about why the big gap between the level of understanding of this waste in our system. So as you can see here, this exercise reaffirmed my belief that there was too much work in progress, reaffirmed my belief that the fact that we have too much work in progress, usually there would be too much task switching, trying to do multitasking. There are also delays in the process and defects. So those are the things that I'm kind of highlighting here. I'm highlighting defects because they were trying to improve quality. But as you can see, it is not equally, I would say, harmful as the other type of waste that they are having. So you will notice that there were cases in which you have big gaps. For example, one person here believed that they would only have 1 little work in progress. But the majority, they thought, yeah, we have too much work in progress. So we had to validate those assumptions, especially because this is so critical in most of the teams that are struggling with productivity. So I wanted to discuss why it was this big gap. And essentially what happened was the misunderstanding of what work in progress is. Not understanding where your commitments start and when it ends, or having confusion about that. We usually have different interpretation of what work in progress is. So we validated that, and then the team agreed that definitely there's too much work in progress. We should focus on finding ways how to address that form of waste. The next thing we did was to look at task switching, and you see that there's also a lot of people saying that there's a lot of task switching. I used this as an input for driving the conversation in the workshop, making sure that whatever I presented from that point on was to address especially these 3 items and also defects. The value of this technique is that you can have an idea that the problem or the root cause of the problem is X. And they may agree that, yeah, it's X, that's the problem. But we don't have a clear picture of how much they think is happening. So this is what we call gradients of agreement. So we have a better understanding of when somebody say there is too much work in progress, they mean at this level 4 or this level 3. Having this input, it will help the team to have good conversations and make the right decisions about what to do. So I will invite you to do this. Look at your process, either if you're using Scrum or Kanban. Maybe during your retrospective, in your next retrospective, list these 7 form of waste and ask the team to rank how much they think this is happening. And you're going to find that it will be an interesting conversation to have. And you're going to be targeting the things that are likely to be affecting your team, affecting your productivity, affecting your value delivery. Then after you do this, you can try it one more time. You could try it every other sprint if you like, to track progress, to see how much this is, I would say, what is the effect that this is having in your flow delivery. And you can also do this with different categories. So this technique is very powerful, very useful for us to have, I would say, a collaborative decision making, involve everybody in the team and make decisions in the right way.